Have you ever climbed a ladder and wondered why it has narrow rungs instead of solid steps like a staircase? At first glance, it seems like a strange design choice. After all, standing on a wide step is usually more comfortable than balancing on a thin bar. So why have ladders looked almost the same for thousands of years? Today, we will uncover why one of humanity's oldest tools ended up with rungs instead of steps, right here on History of Simple Things. Ladders are among the oldest tools ever created. Archaeologists have found evidence of ladder-like structures dating back thousands of years, and some of the earliest known depictions appear in ancient cave paintings. Long before modern construction equipment existed, people needed a way to reach higher places, whether to gather fruit, build shelters, climb cliffs, or work on structures. The basic idea was simple: connect two long side rails with horizontal supports and create a portable path upward. Remarkably, that basic design has survived almost unchanged into the modern world. The earliest ladders were often made from whatever materials were available. In many places, people tied together wooden branches or carved supports directly into tree trunks. These primitive ladders were built for function rather than comfort. The goal was not to create a staircase that felt pleasant to climb. The goal was to create the lightest and simplest structure that could safely help someone move vertically. As civilizations developed, builders became more skilled at working with wood. Ancient Egyptians used ladders while constructing monuments and tombs. The Greeks and Romans also relied on them for construction, military operations, and maintenance. Yet, despite advances in engineering, ladders continued to use rungs instead of solid steps. That was not because nobody thought of steps. It was because rungs solved several problems at once. The first reason is weight. Imagine carrying a ladder across a field or lifting it against the side of a building. Every extra piece of material adds weight. A ladder made with solid wooden steps would require much more wood than one built with simple rungs. For workers who needed to move ladders repeatedly throughout the day, that extra weight would be a major disadvantage. This mattered even more in the past. Before lightweight aluminum and fiberglass existed, ladders were usually made entirely of wood. A large wooden ladder was already heavy enough. Replacing each rung with a full step would make it significantly heavier, making transportation and setup far more difficult. By using only the material needed for climbing, ladder makers created a design that was both practical and portable. The second reason involves strength. At first, a solid step might seem stronger than a rung, but that is not necessarily true. When weight is applied to a ladder, the force travels through the side rails and across each rung. A properly designed rung distributes the load efficiently while using relatively little material. In many cases, adding large solid steps would increase weight much faster than it would increase useful strength. There is also the issue of wind resistance. This may not sound important, but for tall ladders used outdoors, it can make a difference. Open spaces between rungs allow air to pass through. A ladder with large, solid steps would catch more wind, making it harder to handle and potentially less stable when being positioned. Another advantage of rungs becomes obvious when you think about how ladders are used. Unlike stairs, ladders are often climbed facing the structure itself. This allows a person to grip the side rails and maintain 3 points of contact. Thin rungs provide enough support for climbing without getting in the way of the user's feet and legs. Solid steps would occupy more space and could actually make certain climbing movements less efficient. Interestingly, not all ladders use traditional rungs. Step ladders, which many people use indoors, often include wider surfaces that resemble small steps. These are designed for shorter heights and tasks that require standing in one place for longer periods. If you have ever painted a wall or changed a light bulb, you know that standing on a narrow rung can become uncomfortable after a while. Wider steps help solve that problem, but even modern step ladders reveal the same engineering trade-off. The wider the steps become, the heavier and bulkier the ladder gets. Designers constantly balance comfort against portability. The classic rung ladder remains popular because it achieves that balance remarkably well. Today, ladders are made from advanced materials such as aluminum, fiberglass, and engineered composites. They are used by electricians, firefighters, roofers, warehouse workers, and homeowners. Yet if you compare a modern extension ladder to one used centuries ago, the basic structure is instantly recognizable. Two side rails, a series of evenly spaced rungs, a design so simple that it has barely changed despite generations of technological progress. So the next time you grab a ladder to clean a gutter, reach a high shelf, or change a light bulb, take a moment to notice those simple horizontal bars beneath your feet. What looks like an obvious design choice is actually the product of thousands of years of problem solving. Those rungs are there because, for the job a ladder is meant to do, they turned out to be one of the smartest and most efficient solutions ever invented. And that is the hidden story behind one of the simplest things we use every day. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.